Welcome to episode 510 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
Glennie, the Lego Master. The most perfect union between man and hobbies to create a hybrid superhuman who also is great at Lego.
Even I'm lost on this one. What's the backstory here?
Oh, it's on Lego Masters at the moment. Like this guy was on Lego Masters a couple of seasons ago, but like the one at the moment is like a Grandmasters sort of, returning champions or returning favourites, and being put into teams and playing, the next season of Lego Masters.
Yeah.
And there's a guy, and I know I'm sure I said it. I'm sure I said it to him back when I think Simone actually is the one that came up with it. So as much as you want to send me death threats, Glennie. And there's a guy on there who's like, he's the most chilled he's like the most chilled, lovely guy.
Yeah.
Throwing up shakas and stuff. He's just fucking chilled. And he looks like Glennie if he had dreads tied up at the back like a pony, like a high pony of like dreadlocks.
Oh, God.
And so I put it in the Facebook group last night. I put a picture of him in the Facebook group and said, listen, the scientists have created the perfect Glennie / Counting Crows hybrid. Yeah. But fuck, I mean that picture wasn't the best one, but I mean, you look at him and you go, fuck. Maybe it's because he's so chill. I don't know. But there's just something that's just unmistakably Glennie about him.
Because he's so chill.
I've just said he's so chill and he's such a lovely guy. So that's
thanks,
you, Glennie.
mate. Appreciate that.
For all the stuff that you do to me on the show, also in text messages.
Do not do that. For all the stuff I do to you.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I mean, they're the worst sorts of abusers. The ones that are nice in public, and then send you horrific text messages or beat you up at home when no one's watching.
Nothing is secret or behind closed doors. It got screenshotted within approximately 14 seconds and was posted for public viewing. So there's nothing happening behind closed doors.
People have to know. I mean, hashtag me too.
Mold. Yeah.
Hashtag me too. You've got to you have to put your abusers on blast.
That's it.
So people can see. I mean, no more hiding in the shadows.
Yes, that's what I do. I hide in the shadows.
No more of this abuse behind closed door.
That's what I do.
Society in 2023 won't stand for your gaslighting and your fucking abusive behaviour on the down low, Glennie, while you're portraying this nice.
It's just toxic. It's toxic,
to make a name for himself in this cold, hard world.
Tough, harsh world, Nathan. Get it right. Fuck's sake.
It's called coercive control. It's terrible.
Thank you.
Exactly.
What a surprise. What a surprise that Jay knows what it's called and knows all about it. Well.
That's it. If we're going to stomp it out, we need to be informed.
This would be an interesting game of Twister watching you stomp yourself out.
Jay just repeats things
on it every second Thursday.
Jay just repeats stuff that the prosecutor says about him in court.
Yeah.
Welcome up, Jay.
Delightful.
Oh, all right. So this is a double episode. We had the long weekend and Easter Monday games and stuff like that. So we didn't do the Monday night episode.
Which to be fair, I don't want to hear any other fucking Manly player whinge ever. We just had fucking Jesus round, which meant that their games were all fucked up and we couldn't do proper episodes. So are you thankful, Manly? There you go.
Ugh. I don't think anyone's complaining about. Oh, actually, I mean, I saw some people in the Facebook group. Where's my episode? Where's my free episode?
Fucking
it's here.
Entitled cunts.
Welcome, you listeners.
Look, yeah.
At
the end of the day, there's other podcasts out there that you could be listening to. Just saying, they're not as good, and they're probably hosted by cunts, but they're there if you want to listen to them. Be our fucking guest. Otherwise, shut up and wait.
Just the views of Glennie do not necessarily represent the views of. That's
it. We do sincerely apologise for the gap between episodes. And without public holidays, we certainly would have had your episode at the usual time. But we thank you for your understanding because we know they're the kind sorts of people that listen to this show.
Yeah, fuck your understanding.
See, that's the perfect illustration of two personalities laid bare right there. because only one person was being honest in what they were saying, and it was Glennie. It's up for you to decide which one is more insidious. Fucking all right. So how are we going to structure this one? And obviously we've got the games, the recaps.
14 years we've been doing this, and now you're asking how we structure it.
Yeah, well, because we're combining it together, and so we would do news sort of on the previews one more
recaps, news, previews. Let's go.
All right, cool. That's good because I haven't got any fucking news anyway to speak of. But I am still in massive holiday mode at the moment. I'll be honest. Not that I get any days off, but just having the kids around and everything like that just makes things more, less structured, more holiday-ish and stuff like that. And I can sleep in later because I don't need to get people to school and shit.
I can't wait till you slip into fucking cut your hair and trim your beard mode out of holiday mode because you look like a fucking hot mess.
Well, I mean, see, I take that as a compliment. I mean, coming from you, Glennie.
So he has hair and a beard. You've said, "Hey mate, you look the opposite of me."
Yes, that's why I don't like it.
Yeah, well, Glennie's about to come into fucking Toowoomba winter beard mode, right?
Nah,
or you're not going back there?
Nah.
Yeah, why not? It's just easier to shave your whole fucking head apart from your eyebrows.
I was about to say because my entire beard is now grey, but then I looked at you and you don't give a fuck.
Yeah, who fucking cares?
Might I suggest?
Be fucking be fucking graceful in.
Some Jason Saab style tundra facial hair.
Oh, Jesus.
Where there is just a fucking sparse and desolate landscape surrounding strange patches of growth.
Oh, could you imagine the cunts banding together to fucking mock me if I started growing that shit on my face? Oh, wow.
Because I used to do the sidey thing, but I mean, not since, I was getting like skin fades and stuff like that. It's really weird to have like sideys when like sideburns when you've got a skin fade because like they're just sort of coming out of nowhere. They're just sort of sat out there like little fucking islands.
Yeah.
Like, mate. I mean, but maybe it's the style. I mean, he's obviously come home from a fucking stint in prison and got fucking pumping iron and eating.
Or maybe that's where the fucking peds have caused hair to grow, but he just didn't shave that morning.
Yeah, maybe it's caused some sort of werewolfism. Fucking.
We'll get to that game.
Oh, fuck, we will. Right, so Thursday, Korean Housewife, Melbourne Storm, 28. Very fucking easily dispatched the Sydney Roosters 8. The Storm's 28 came through a hat-trick to Xavier Coates. Meany and Munster were tries. Meany 3 conversions. Munster a penalty goal. The Roosters had a try to Jackson Paulo, a conversion to Sam Walker, a penalty goal to Sam Walker.
Munster responded. I thought Munster responded with a cracking game, aided and bedded by the fact that Hughes was back there with him and that combination was rekindled. I was surprised the way Melbourne just... Because the Roosters actually started quite well. Cheese, took control of the ruck early and they sort of got him on the edges and you thought, it would look like it was going to be a cracking contest. But Melbourne, once they clicked into gear, the Roosters couldn't stem the tide.
Yep.
Yeah, I think just as we said in the preview to this one, the combination of Munster and Hughes is such an offensive weapon because it makes them dangerous both sides of the park at once. And there aren't too many sides that are like that. There's obviously one side's generally more dominant than the other. And then for the counter side, I don't think Walker had his best game of the season. And so there were a couple of times when they went to his side that I think he let the Roosters down a little bit. Just in his decision making, and he's a fucking young kid, and it's still an ask to make decisions in a split second when you've got 120 kilo fucking behemoths steaming down trying to kill you.
I'm surprised teams don't get at him a lot more than what they do. He's the way that they, obviously he has an element of toughness where he stands up to the defensive assignment, but he's the game plan and the way they structure. And the way he's protected as well is impressive. Yeah, because players of that stature have come and gone from this game and been found fucking wanting very, very early and very quickly in their careers when they've come into first grade.
Yeah. There was a comment later on in the show. It's about the Dolphins game, but there are a couple of games that it could have been pointing to this week, and I think the Storm now, even though they don't have their superstar spine anymore. Having representative class 6, 7, and 9 isn't a bad thing, but Nick Meaney's doing a fantastic job, but he's not Pappenhausen.
No.
And their outside backs aren't of the calibre that they once were. So I think that just says a lot for their halves and hooker just actually getting them to where they wanted to be consistently throughout the game.
Yeah, Hughes and Munster are the anti-plod.
That's it, yeah. So,
yep.
Anything else you want to add to that?
Nope.
Matthew in the Facebook group, he said, I hate to admit it, but Munster is probably the best player in the comp. Hard to dispute that at the moment. Jared, Harry Grant, the magician tonight, as well. Radley spends more time in the bin than a used condom. Yeah, that was unfortunate, wasn't it?
You see, he is now the second most sin bin player in the NRL era.
Wow.
After Morley?
Nope.
Who?
Latrell.
Really?
Is one ahead. Yeah.
Fuck.
And then you go back to like someone like Jason Stevens or something like this. There's very few old players in the top sort of echelon.
Bet money it was Adrian Morley.
Yeah. I'll have to.
He probably leads the send-offs.
I was just about to say,
true,
is that the distinction there?
Yeah, it must be. But Morley, remember, it was Magic Round last year, and he got chucked into bin twice, right? It was a crackdown round. I think it was Magic Round.
Yeah.
And he got sent in the bin twice, and there was all this discussion about, he's got to change the way he plays. I mean, because
I remember that.
He's a fucking liability the way, and also, I mean, because the other thing, this side of it is he knocks himself out a shitload as well. He's learned nothing and changed nothing.
And said as much at the time, though, if you remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
Came out in response to that. And was
this is why I've tackled since I was 6.
Yeah.
Yep. Like I've never liked the guy. He's like a little dog shop merchant, but man, he's going to fucking rub himself out of the game. He's going to take care of himself the way he's going because I mean, this is the thing. It doesn't matter, how good the good things you do are. I mean, if you want to spend 10 minutes off every game, or knock yourself out in however many minutes, like that's a liability.
Exactly.
For a team to carry.
100%. And segueing into the last comment on that game was Sam. He said, last week I mentioned that one guarantee in rugby league was Whiten kicking out on the full. Is the other one Radley getting sin binned every game? Well, sir, we have just answered your question, and it is yes.
Yep. It sure feels like it. The South Sydney Rabbitohs 50 to feed the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs 16 at Acor Stadium. The Rabbitohs 50 came through tries to Cameron Murray, Jacob Host, Cody Walker, a hat-trick to Campbell Graham, and a hat-trick to Latrell Mitchell, with Latrell getting 6 of 9 conversions and a penalty goal. Doggies tries to Avarillo and a double to Matt Burton, with Burton connecting with 2 of 3 of his conversion attempts.
You said Munster responded. Latrell certainly. Dimitri, I'm sure he knew what he was doing, but had the comment a week or so ago saying that, it'd be nice if Latrell could find his way into the game earlier, and certainly did that. In this one, he was heavily involved. He was up for the contest. And, obviously Addo Carr's injury takes away 50% of the Bulldogs' attacking potency. And it was reflected in the scoreboard, so...
Yeah, there's not much to say. I mean, look, the pieces of the Rabbitohs that you demand excellence from all stood up. I mean, Cody Walker was great. Latrell was obviously great. Cameron Murray was critical. Yeah, I mean, some of his work with ball in hand was amazing. Campbell Graham is back. He's back on top in terms of his form as well.
He is. And
on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I don't want to say he's underrated, but just as a pure centre, he would have to be the form in his position at the moment in the competition. Like every week, he goes out and gives a pretty much flawless performance, and he is heavily involved.
I remember last year there was a member-sode I think me and Glennie were doing, and I was just abusing him because he was just fucking up and just.
Pretty sure you labelled him Bjorn Borg there at fucking half a dozen times.
And in the second half he came out and had a great second half and sort of clawed some of it back.
But this is also
this season,
though.
Yep.
Like that Cody Walker is exactly who I want to see if I'm paying to go and see rugby league games every week. Like that's the game he had. He was measured. There was none of that ridiculous brain snap, Cody.
Yep.
And he was back to that brilliant stuff he did. And you don't talk about it so much in rugby league because it's generally a sport where everything's happening in front of the player. As in the defence is always coming at them from in front, or the ball's coming at them from in front of them. But that try that they scored, where the ball almost looked like it was going out, Walker's taken the pass, has almost fumbled it and gone out as he was falling, managed to gather the ball in as he was falling, twist, and pass it back and find Latrell. Just the pure athletic ability, the body control involved in that sequence, that's what makes him brilliant. And that's 2 weeks in a row now that he's put in a performance where he's let his football do the talking for him.
Yep.
So if there's more of that to come, then Souths are firmly back up there in terms of legitimate contenders.
Yep, and they have now rubbed out the Bulldogs, who joined the Canberra Raiders in the cannot win the premiership this year basket.
Fantastic.
And then there were 15.
Yeah, were they really nice?
Well, mathematically and what do you call it? Like superstitionally. You got to do socials, don't you? I was just gonna stop
Greg.
here.
Greg, he said 17 dogs crucified on Good Friday. Sounds oddly poetic. Chris, he said you can buy as many players and coaches from us as you want, but you can't buy our culture. Enjoy the 50 burger, you plebs. Thomas said we still didn't start putting in until 30 minutes in, which feels like 50 minutes against a competent team. We've seen so far this season that isn't soon enough. So while it's fun to take the Blue Dog out back with the shotgun of a 50 burger, it isn't making me more confident about our season as a whole. Mutzi, he said, I can't be fucked making it, but just imagine the meme of the Scooby Gang yanking Cameron Ciraldo's mask off and underneath it's just Trent Barrett. In reality, losing Addo Carr was a massive blow, and the Preston sin bin gave the Rabbitohs and Latrell the chance to go absolute beast mode. Burton did a great job despite a terrible situation. I want to be careful what I say here, because obviously there's the whole, you're pissed off that he left Penrith. Burton doesn't thrill me as a 6.
No.
And
especially when he's been very good at other rep levels.
Yeah.
As a centre.
Yeah.
But they're just trying to justify their decision for the money.
To pay him so much money, yeah.
100% they are. 100%.
He's there on spine money, and
But at the end of the day, honestly, if he's playing in the centres, and he's the best version of a rugby league player that Matt Burton can be, who gives a fuck? Isn't that the team getting the most benefit out of the player they're paying so much money to, regardless of the position on the field? Yes, 5'8" should, theoretically
that's it.
be paid more than centres, but okay, so here's an isolated case, but he fucking wins us games. Who cares?
I guess then you get into that argument, and then there's that Newcastle thing where, hang on, we've paid stupid money for a fullback, and it's now limited severely what we can spend on our
I also think you get some centres when it comes time to contract negotiations, setting Burton as a precedent and saying, well, he's a centre and he's getting paid this. Well,
yeah, that's it.
When you do what he does on the field, then you can fucking command that.
Yeah. Spot on.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, you take him out back on the field straight away, and you go, okay, cunt, fucking throw up one of those torpedoes.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, and, impress me. Hey, if you finish with the socials.
I was going to say the last one on that's from our mate B.43 on Twitter. He said, watching the Bulldogs play really makes you think that maybe, just maybe, spending millions on system players isn't the way to achieve premiership success.
It's a backhander, eh?
It's a good point, though. Like, Gus came into Penrith and was like, oh, yeah, I'll win you a premiership, but it's not soon, and it's going to take this, and we're going to build up this junior nursery and build up our teams coming through.
Mm.
And then he's gone to the Bulldogs and said, yeah, I'll win you a premiership.
I'll just buy all them.
We're just going to get all those ones.
because it's impossible to replicate that at Canterbury.
Yeah.
There's not the same size nursery. There's not the academy. There's
not the same size, and there's not the same size like mafia-like exertion on surrounding juniors and everything that Penrith put on like players when they're way too young to be making decisions about their future, and the way that they're basically threatened with being blackballed if they don't come on board the Penrith
pledge their allegiance.
System. If they don't pledge their allegiance to the Panthers. So and obviously geographically, doggies. I mean, they're sandwiched. They can't do anything like that. I just want to give the best social of the entire game by far. Was fucking our mate Chapo, who fucking about 2 minutes 40 seconds I think was left on the game clock. Tweeted out something like, I don't have it in front of me, so I'm just going to paraphrase here. But he tweeted out something to the lines of, these fucking cowards couldn't even put 50 on us. And I'm like, dude, there's they got like 3 more sets. And why the fuck would you do something? And sure enough, they hit 50 and then everyone just fucking jumps on it. And
he loves it. He lives for that shit.
Yeah, he does. He's just like, look, I said it. I live by the sword. I'm like, well, yeah, motherfucker. A bit more common sense. And you might not have to fucking, pull your sword out, all right? Calm fuck down. Now we move on to the Dolphins defeating the North Queensland Cowboys 32 points to 22 up there at the abattoir. And the Dolphins 32 came through a try to Tom Gilbert, a double to Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, and Jermaine Osako 3 tries, the hat trick as good wingers do. 3 conversions and a penalty goal to add to that tally. The Cowboys 22 tries to Holmes, Hess, and a double to Cole Felt. 3 conversions to Holmes. Genuinely surprised at this fucking result and the way the game sort of played out.
It's obvious that the Dolphins are playing somewhat on raw emotion and energy at the moment.
Yeah, but the fact they clawed it back though after the losses and the injuries, I mean, they've recaptured it again.
Yeah,
so Wayne's doing a miraculous job.
But yeah, what I think I love most about the Dolphins is those players that were not always, but sometimes unwanted elsewhere.
Well, Osako was absolutely unwanted by the Broncos, so he goes down to the Titans, and then the Titans had him languishing at Tweed or wherever they're feeding, and they did not want him. He goes to the Dolphins, and everyone's looking at it like, "Oh, that's shit." I mean, us included.
Yeah.
But man, like his finishing on some of those fucking tries was incredible.
And he's always had that in his game. I'm just not 100% on what the big knock on him, whether he's a liability defensively or...
I think it's just... Well, he wasn't playing well. I mean,
maybe he's a shit trainer. I don't know.
I think he's a Wayne guy. I think Wayne just knows how to get the best out of him.
Yeah, that's it.
Because he was good. He was good at the Broncos for a time there too, remember?
Yeah. And I'm with you, Glennie. I remember just watching Broncos games with him in it, and I don't think he made any glaring fuck-ups.
Like athletically...
He's
guy fucking right there, right?
Like, to take the field goals as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Milford's on $1 million a year, passing off to him, letting him fucking slot him over.
That's it.
Slot him over from fucking 2 meters out from the fucking touchline.
Exactly.
Yeah. But just like across the park, mate, you're exactly right. They had the air taken out of their balloon pretty fucking severely in the last couple of weeks, be it from the teams they'd played or the long-term injuries to key personnel.
Yep.
But fuck me, that team's playing like a group that's been together for a decade.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, and the hammer is the guy from the North Queensland Cowboys who was stuck behind an incumbent player and couldn't get his first choice position, who left. Yep. That Ponga thinks he is, and the Knights thought Ponga was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Hamso is that guy. I mean, he's fucking killing it.
Yep.
I want to give... Sorry, you go.
No, go, Glenn. Go.
I want to give a rap to Tom Gilbert, first and foremost, but also Lemuelu.
Yep.
Those guys, in the absence of Kafusi, certainly in this game, they stepped up and they were like, we're going to be the guys who are axing people. Our first contact is going to be fucking brutal. Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys didn't like it. And we've spoken before about the Cowboys not quite being where they were last year and have probably dropped a level. I feel like they can get back there, but they just didn't enjoy having the contest physically taken to them by the Dolphins. They didn't like that at all, and it just Marshall King.
Wayne is doing absolutely working fucking miracles with him as well.
I've never rated him as a fucking NRL player, let alone a hooker, right?
Yeah, but he's legit playing well now though.
Yeah, 100%,
and has been all season. That's Wayne.
Yeah, for sure. You can't put it down to anything else.
They're attracted. The aura's still there.
Yeah,
this season's proving it.
And I think the fact that they're it's a new club. They're all making a fresh start. That has to play into it as well. But the way Bennett is actually getting so much out of them is really impressive.
Living adjacent to the community and being amongst that community almost daily. There's it must be like fun as fuck. Yeah. To be a part of that.
Yeah, I reckon.
But when they had those losses and then the injuries mounted and like to key in, playmaking injuries.
Yep.
And you get Kafusi suspended for several weeks, like that could have been the start of the beginning of the end for them. But they've turned it around. A couple of bad losses. They've turned it around. Had a good win against a team that's probably better than the ones they lost to.
Yep.
And to do it up there as well, that's regardless of how the Cowboys are going specifically right now, that is still a fucking hard place, both conditions-wise, but also the fact that crowd comes out. It's a tough crowd to win in front of.
Well, they turned that into a fortress since they got their new stadium. Yeah.
Yep. And to go out and grind out a win like that up there, off the back of two games where they copped a bit of a pounding, both obviously in losses, but also as you said, Jay, the injuries, etc. It's impressive.
I think for the Cows, though, a lot of their success last year came off the back of their defence, and that came off the back of being a couple of notches fitter than any other team out there that they came across. Because you remember they looked amazing.
Yep.
Then they had, after they went on that winning run, their first match against Penrith. And it was still at that time where Penrith just kept going up a gear, and the Cows stayed with them longer than any other team in the competition at that stage. But then Penrith had that final gear to go and the Cows couldn't keep up. I don't see that in the Cows at the moment.
Yep.
And that's what happened to Penrith, went through the COVID year. They just came back and they were fitter than everybody else. And they were blasting teams. Then when they got into the finals, by that stage everyone else had caught up. And it was, well, no, you actually have to play some football. And that cost them in the grand final. But the Cows, I don't think, have that solid enough base underneath that fitness advantage. So if they don't have that, I see them struggling for a lot of this season. Trying to
you see, they talk about second year syndrome with players. We're seeing second year syndrome with this Cowboys side, and maybe they just caught fire and overperformed last year, and this is the level. And
maybe it's a test of Peyton's. He's still a relatively inexperienced coach.
Yeah,
and you've got to ride out. And it's probably something he has to learn and evolve with as well to ride out these times and drag the team back up collectively. It can't be easy to do, and it's easy to say guys like Bennett and Bellamy keep doing it year after year, but it has to be a learned skill.
But they do keep doing it year after year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Socials on that one. Anything else you guys want to add?
No.
To that one? No? Ben.
Just fins up, baby.
Group. Yeah, fins up. Very poor first half. Not sure what's happened this year, but we need to get back to the defence we had last year. Dolphins earned the win tonight. Liam, what a game. Could have gone either way. Great to see the stadium sold out. Both teams putting in a big effort. Queensland League is getting stronger every week. David, couldn't have made that any harder on ourselves if we wanted to. Flippers for hands in the second half. Courageous to hold on despite all the fuck-ups. Rodney, Dolphins rudderless in the last 10. Lucky to intercept a penalty from a rush kick. Cowboys playing like we expected them to last year. Gus, this is that comment I was referring to about the games earlier, the Melbourne game. Once again, Bennett shows us how simple a game this really is and how little you actually have to do to be successful. The Cowboys, in contrast, show us how easy it is to mess up by not doing the basics.
Yep.
That's one thing you're always going to get from a Bennett team.
Yeah, I reckon the Dolphins have probably got like a lower ceiling than most sides in the comp.
Yeah.
Easily 10, 12 sides in the comp. But their floor, however, is, potentially like top 6.
Yeah, exactly. MJ Groom _AU on Twitter tweeted at us and said, Cowboys have lost their attack and defence mojo. It's like they hired Inspector Cousteau to find it. It's a comedy. There we go.
That
Deep
is,
cut.
That tells us the age of the commenter in that case, I think.
Yes.
I mean, if you know, there are numerous detectives to pull, you know, from over the years, and you know if they're going like with Clouseau or Columbo or something, there's like they're of a certain age, you know, rather than like,
respect,
you know,
sir.
So yeah, hi,
How's
Dad.
your blood pressure?
Yeah, yeah, get your colonoscopy done. Okay, move on to Saturday, and the Penrith Panthers 44 defeated the mighty Manly Sea Eagles 12. The Panthers tries through Nathan Cleary, Brian To'o, Scott Sorensen, and Dylan Edwards with 4 tries. Cleary perfect 7 conversions and a penalty goal. Manly tries to Saab and Tommy Turbo with 2 conversions from Daly Cherry Evans. And I've got to say, just those conversions were fucking spectacularly like crisp, like touchline fucking hooking over the fucking black dot. Maybe he should do more fucking goal kicking. But you can go first, Jay.
Make it quick, cunts.
I would just like to say that this now puts to bed once and for all who is the dominant half of the competition. It's Cleary. Who is the dominant fullback of the competition? It's Edwards. I don't want to hear any more fucking ramblings about either of those pretenders ever being fucking good. You guys can go back down and play against the
20% possession in the first half
grades.
and the fucking back spasms from the fucking warm up before the game. We were fucking playing injured and playing without any ball. Fucking.
If only they gave a fucking Dally M for excuses, you'd be a fucking runaway winner.
Cool. Does it pay?
So you're saying your fucking most injury-prone fullback of all time had injuries? Fucking shock me with that deviant news.
Doesn't make it less true.
Because I know you have the most injury-prone fullback in the history.
He had back spasms and had the needle up for the game.
You have the Adam Reynolds of fullbacks.
Oof,
I don't know about that. Fucking Pappenhausen hasn't taken the field yet.
It's a deep cut.
He's not a player anymore. He's gone.
Oh, what do you call Ponga's fucking Ponga hasn't. He's only been on the field for fucking 30 minutes.
They're
this
gone.
season.
That fucking dumb mulleted water boy down in Melbourne. He can fuck off too. Bow down. No. This one was very, very simple. It's been Manly's problem now for a couple of years running, and I don't know how much fucking any Harvard education can just say to them, hold on to the fucking ball. Obviously, your 6 was your fucking weak point in defence.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. That's where it started.
Exactly. But
an elite side, you know, targeting a kid in his run on, you know, debut in a position that he doesn't fucking play. I mean, obviously he was going to be a target, but the problem was with the injuries through the back line, because I mean there was 3 players out from the back, from the 7 in the back line. The depth is a problem because obviously you get fucking you have to bring in potatoes to cover.
Exactly.
And if you carry a certain number of potatoes in the 17 players on the field, then it just means it's very difficult to be successful. But the problem was you had KO Weeks getting exploited in his first game, with Schuster being out, so then there was no combination with the next guy out, which was Tuolangi, who got fucking raped, which fucked it up for the 2 guys on the outside because they had to try and come in and make up for the fuck-ups of the previous 2 guys on the line. And then Ruben gets knocked out as well, so then you have to fucking reshuffle that, and you've only got one original piece out of the 4 guys on the left-hand side of the fucking ruck.
Yeah.
Against an elite side who are fucking, they don't need that anyway.
Correct. But this is the difference, and that keeps going back to that word you keep saying, elite. What Penrith did exceptionally well all fucking night is it wasn't as if you see these sides and there's a new person in the defensive line, or even when somebody gets sent off and they have to restructure a defensive line, they'll run inverted commas traffic at him all night, and that involves sending forwards at him, and making him make one-on-one tackles and trying to wear him down. I don't know what the point of that is. If you're a fucking first grade player, you should be able to be effective enough in a one-on-one tackle situation that it's going to be a fucking hard night for you.
Yeah, but when you do that, it's not just about the defence too. It also just saps your energy to do anything when you've got the ball in your hands, you know?
Yeah, it certainly does. But what Penrith did exceptionally well was they didn't send one person at him. They sent 3. They sent 4. They sent options at him. And instead of just forcing him to make tackles and hoping he fucked up, they forced him to make decisions.
Exactly.
So he was fucked physically and mentally.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think we'll see him wear the 6 again. I mean, his versatility is great. I mean, he is an excellent fullback, and he's been a great sub, playing out of hooker. But I think what he established well and truly is that he's definitely not a 5'8". Well, certainly that's not the time to try and fucking see if you can be a 5'8". Yeah. And I think in the short term, I don't think we'll ever see him there again. And let's hope Grimace can fucking fix his legs. He's got fucking Lieutenant Dan magic legs, because fuck me, I'm sick of that fat cunt. And he's fucking, minor calf twinges and fucking quad twinges, and it's always, everything's a twinge trying to carry his fat guts week in, week out.
I was also impressed at the way Cleary and Luai were combining. It's been a little while since we've seen them run a little bit more freely like that. We had Luai turning up over on the right-hand side of the field, and then the next set, Cleary was floating left, and they were actually combining with each other, which we haven't seen for a long time, but I think that's a good thing to get Luai more involved. Nathan, in the Facebook group, he said, "This is the Manly Siebes Eagles."
Wow.
Ryan, he said, "It's almost like Aaron Woods projects an aura of decline when he joins any team. Well done, Penrith." Brendan, "Looked like Painface was playing on one leg out there. DCE just showed how much of a cuck he is, sitting back and watching the Aussie halfback tear his team apart." Matthew, "That first half was a lesson in how to dismantle a side. Hard to remember a more clinical, dominant display. I'll tell you when it was. It was the fucking grand final last year when we did it to a full-strength Parramatta Eels. That was when you saw a more clinical fucking side."
In a game that meant something.
They must have known Manly's only game plan was to win the second half. Sure, Panthers took the foot off the pedal a little, but good pressure, application, and some true grit shown by Eagles. The sort of grit that Dogs have been showing during the worst injury run in the history of rugby league. Fucking hell, cunt. Liam.
I thought listening to you cunts was fucking bad enough, but then you had to read that shit.
Could you imagine being that way for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs? My fucking God.
Hey, it
could be worse. Could be the Tigers.
We don't kink shame.
Must be cellmate to a scaff brother.
Liam, now, Nate, can you verify this fact?
Sure.
That Manly have not beaten a top 4 team in 2 years.
No, that's ridiculous. Because they've beaten teams that were in the top 4. They've been in. I don't want to go back through 2 years and fucking. But they've beaten teams. They've beaten not technicality. They've beaten teams that are in the top 4 when they played them through the season, like Parramatta Eels and things like that. And then Parramatta, like in 2021, Parramatta Eels were in the top 4, but then they slid to 5th or 6th or something by the in the last week or the second. I mean, they beat them. Then it's ridiculous that this stupid fucking top 4 narrative exists. But
so Liam, I challenge you to explain your top 4 narrative.
It's a Fox Sports narrative.
So what are you saying? That they beat Parramatta when they were 5th, but then Parramatta went on to finish the season 4th?
No, they beat them when they were 4th, but then and at late in the season as well. But then they say, but then they finished 5th at the end of the season.
Okay.
So they go, that's not top 14. Fuck out of here. They were fucking entrenched. They were first for most of the season and entrenched in the top 4 at the fucking time.
Yep. Okay.
I just want to sorry, go ahead.
No, finish off, sorry.
I was just going to say, I just wanted the one guy, the one positive I want to give a shout out to is fucking Jakey. I saw a statistic through the week. He is averaging, in 2023, something like 84 minutes of game time. And the cunt making 50 tackles with no misses and shit. That cunt, he deserves better.
Fucking hell. Graham, he said, "I've been praying for Turbo to stay fit enough to play for New South Wales all season, but that bitch straight up quit tonight. Fucking sad to see." Yeah.
Mate, look pretty fucking stupid when you fucking see the reports of the twinge before the fucking game, getting the magic spray and then getting needled at half time.
So if this is the thing though, why play him at all? If he needs to be needled to get through a game
in round 6, a round 6 game,
it was back spasms. It wasn't an injury. And he's fine.
Now who's on fucking technicalities? So if
that's literally what was reported. I don't know what the fuck.
Okay, so injury spasms, tomato retardo. Right?
No, spasms are not an injury. Spasms are a discomfort that force you to not be able to obviously perform at your athletic best in a sport where you are an athlete in the sport. Okay. So It's not like his job is to fucking sit at a desk and fucking talk about football. Back spasms there probably don't affect you so much. You can get a stand-up desk. You can get through it. And you probably don't even need a needle. Just take a couple of fucking Nurofen.
But this is what I'm saying. If it was going to affect him so much, why play him?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it affected him. It affected him, like, attack-wise or whatever. But I mean, like, it wasn't like he was fucking passenger or anything out there either. I mean, can't score to try and fucking, So,
Benny on Twitter, he said, Manly, with such a lack of interest in this game, you'd think it was a pride jersey. And I'll leave the last comment of this to our good friend Hammers, who has cooked Manly more than he's cooked any sort of food. He said, these mighty Manly Seabs Eagles look eerily similar to the mighty Seabsbin Broncos.
Delightful.
And that's a Gold Coast Titans fan.
I fucking love that guy.
Someone who has never tasted the nectar of success, and in all likelihood never will. So instead, you can enjoy the sweet nectar of these nuts. You fucking bitch. The Canberra Raiders 20 defeated the Brisbane Broncos 14 at Suncorp Stadium. The fucking boil over. The little Raiders that could, got up there, 20 points, a double to Rapana, Albert Hopewade with the other try, which incidentally, it's actually good seeing him finally become a first-grade player after years of hype and then failure when he played for Manly, failure when he went to the Raiders. But now, a couple years removed, he's actually starting to be like a decent, like, solid footballer. Croker, 3 of 3 conversions and a penalty goal, and didn't they fucking love their little son coming back, old teary eyes. And the Broncos 14 tries to Cobbo, Ricky and Arthurs. Reynolds, 1 of 3 conversions.
I'll tell you, on the Croker thing, this is how I love seeing the interaction between socials and sport. So obviously when he was named, there were a subsection of, whether Canberra fans or not, I don't know, on the internet that went out and was like, oh, fucking great, 20 points down that side guaranteed.
And also, they were the same people saying that shit when he was playing previously. Yeah, he sucked, he's fucking cooked, he's cooked, fucking get rid of him.
It was all about his performance. Or sorry, I shouldn't say all. I'm sure there are some fuckheads out there that went too far. No one was saying...
Rugby League Twitter, some fuckheads.
Yeah, sorry.
There's a statistically significant percentage.
Like, no one was having like personal attacks at him or making threats or saying inappropriate things, and it's hard to be racist against him, but no one was doing that either. But
fucking he did. Is there a race of people that fucking get around with teary eyes?
Get that little teary-eyed cracker off my fucking teeth.
Oh, look at you fucking ducty. Fucking ducty.
Oh, fuck.
But and I think it was the Canberra account afterwards sort of screenshot some of their things, and it was like, like Cobbo hat trick guaranteed, and they put up Cobbo stats for the match, and then here's this Croker 0 missed tackles. That was the fucking best way to deal with it.
Exactly.
I know it's not always possible because performances aren't always as positive as his was. But I thought that was fucking great. It was a nice way to say, fuck all you cunts.
Yeah.
Essentially, look at the scoreboard.
Yep.
Which I
exactly. And it's funny, this game, and it really does illustrate how, like, precarious the Broncos' undefeated status was over the last month, particularly, because this game really wasn't a lot different to their wins, and even some decent sized wins.
Yeah.
However,
this game was Marty Tapau's knee away from them remaining undefeated.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, look,
hypothetically,
you don't get a try for fucking Jordan Rapana knocking the ball on after getting hit in the head. I mean, like, they don't give you 6 points for that. They still had to fucking find a way to score those points. But yeah, they had a good opportunity at the end, without doubt. And, oh my god, Fox Sports or whoever the fuck. When a player gets a crack to the head where they are just fucking Vesuviusing blood out of their face, you don't have to have the camera on the entire fucking time. Just quietly. Oh, we get it. The dude's suffered a significant head injury that he's obviously clearly not faking.
Yeah.
we don't need to see him sitting there with blood fucking pissing out of the fucking.
That was
orifice.
a lot of fucking blood.
It really was.
It was
geyserish.
pissing out. Yeah.
I don't know.
It was one of those ones where it goes. It's coming out, and you can. But the way the blood's coming out, you can actually count his pulse because it's just spurting every time his heart beats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, look, he certainly wasn't faking that contact. Let's be at the end of the game, he wasn't laying down for the penalty. That's for sure. Like some players.
I was fairly impressed with for the most part, what I saw, especially after the match. During, like, live, there was a lot of, oh, what the fuck? How was that a penalty? What was he supposed to do?
Oh, and also at the ground, there was a lot of Broncos fans booing the fucking player who had the audacity to stay down when his head had been fucking clipped.
That was fucked.
I mean, that's standard. I mean, you're used to it. That's what happens.
For the most part,
and
it took a couple of people sort of screenshotting the rule book to say contact with the head.
Yeah. Our mate Solzy. He's the first one I saw that.
Yeah, that is true. I saw him there. But the Raiders showed that when they play their style of football and play it well, that they can mix it with most teams, who are, I guess, genuinely vying for a finals berth, and that's low mistake, high quality defense, and what do you fucking know? Having a half that doesn't take attacking opportunities in the red zone and just boot the ball into the fucking third row of the stands, giving away a 7-tackle set all the time. They won this game without White.
Yeah.
And one thing I found so fucking weird was after the game, everyone they spoke to was tripping over themselves to talk about how, they did it without Jackie, but if he was here, they probably would have still done it, and we can't wait for him to get back in the squad. And there was just something fucking weird about it. And I don't know whether they're overcompensating because of the contract talks recently.
Clearly, they feel like he needs some persuasion to stay, which is a dangerous sign for.
It also means that it's like team harmony, and what players don't want to come out and say, oh yeah, we fucking did it without him. Maybe you should go find the fucking money elsewhere.
No, but they could just say nothing.
Exactly.
They could just talk about the boys that were there.
Yeah.
No one asked them about Whiten.
Right.
But multiple people really tried hard to get it in there that they were looking forward to him coming back into the team.
Or maybe that was just a storyline that was used to inspire them in training through the week. Like, people don't think, Whiten's out. People don't think you can fucking beat these cunts. Yeah, and so maybe that was one of the things that was sort of a rallying cry or whatever that was drummed into them through the week.
Jesus, rallying cry. Fucking hell. Anything else you guys want to say on that one?
Rallying cry without the towel.
Ben said, you think it was St. Patrick's Day with the amount of green baby gravy in the living room tonight? Great to see teary eyes back on the pitch.
Excellent.
Hayden, I think the Raiders came out and just thought, let's dominate on defense, hit them hard and win the middle so they can build from there. After taking more hammerings than a prostitute on an office chair in an orgy, the Broncos felt stunned and slowed down and couldn't get on the front foot. Good old weak-gutted dog Sticky to go to Brisbane to beat the Broncos on their home ground. Peter, he said, fuck, it's good flogging a dead horse. Lachlan, now that's a loss the team needs, although the Rapana injury could have gone a different way. We didn't win because we were out enthused for the first 60 minutes. Been that way for the last 4 weeks, except the Tigers. I reckon we'll fix that and lift the standards moving forward. Hazza, with close to what I consider the comment of the round, apart from Hammers, I did love that one. He said the Raiders should get a cut from all the new Dolphins merch being ordered tonight.
That is a good one.
And JR_Buff, he said Broncos extend Kevy's contract and the Broncos immediately lose. Insert Scorsese cinema meme.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay, the Gold Coast Titans 20 defeated the St. George Illawarra Dragons 18 down there at the Hope Solo Coliseum. The Titans 20 tries to Campbell, Sami and Sexton. Boyd 3 conversions and a penalty goal. The Dragons tries to Lomax, Ravalawa and Ben Hunt. Lomax 2 of 3 conversions and a penalty. What do you got, Glennie?
The battle of the biggest cunt fan base was a close-fought battle, but in the end, the Titans predictably come out on top.
Is that to say that they are the biggest cunt fan base to you now?
Look, this week. But
or because they lost, because the team that lost was, they're the biggest. Yeah.
Look, for this week, I think the Dragons.
I just need you to explain the rules of your game to me.
Well, there are no rules. I make them up as I go along. I think that's fairly obvious. To their credit, though, the Titans, they kept coming at the Dragons. Dragons started well through Lomax. Play to your strengths, kick the ball high and let that cunt go get it. But the Titans hung in, and at times it wasn't pretty, but you have to give them credit for fighting for the full 80 and jagging the win through Sexy Boy with a few minutes remaining, and Tanner Boyd was good enough to kick the conversion to put him in front, and they held on at the end. So, Dragons had their opportunities to win for sure. I think Sloane was dangerous. Ben Hunt had another moment he'd probably choose to forget, but they came to play. But the Titans, as I said, they just kept coming, and I think the thing that would be most impressive from their perspective, and certainly for the fans, is the fact that they fought for and kept coming for 80 minutes, and that's ultimately what got them the win.
Yeah, that's it. Anything else you want to add to that one, Nate?
No.
Norts. He said, no Brampton, Foran, even so. Fuck, we are a stupid football team. This includes a comp that has the West Tigers.
This fucking guy.
Hammers. On the third day, our Lord and Saviour JC rose again and delivered us into salvation, forgiving us of all our sins. Also, suck my dick.
That guy's so shit at commenting.
Wow.
One-eyed Tiger. He said, Ben Hunt's transition from hero to zero. You hate to see it. But more than that, you love to see it in a Dragons jersey. Dean,
yes, you do.
Taking off little in the second half for Plod Mbai is the griffinest of the Griffin ball.
Yeah, they're coming for him now.
Oh, he's pretty well protected, though. Did you see Ben Hunt's reply to that?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that in the news.
Okay, we'll get to that. Scott, Ben Hunt got pants by Toby Sexton, and I am in utter shock. Also hilarious that every try was pretty much a carbon copy of each other. JC concedes a try, JC scores a try. Ravalawa scores barging through a bunch of defenders. Sammy scores barging through a bunch of defenders. Hunt scores through a silky movement and some ballsy play. Sexton scores with a ballsy dummy run. Lomax the villain, and I am here for it. Mupp on Twitter. He said, this Easter we're reminded that Jesus was the Gold Coast Titans of skateboarding. And at Hero 6 MOTY. The fuck does that mean? Is that Tyler Hero? Oh, fuck, I don't think I want to read your comment out now.
Oh, yeah, no, that's exactly what it is.
Is it? No comment for you. Fuck Tyler Hero. Fuck the Miami Heat. Fuck everyone associated with them.
So that's it?
Nah, he said, couldn't have scripted it better. Hunt dropping the ball at a crucial time.
That's fucking weak.
The Newcastle Knights 34 defeat the Warriors 24 in Newcastle. The Newcastle Knights 34 came through tries to Young, Frizzle, Crossland, Kurt Mann, and a double to Greg Marzu. Miller, 5 of 6 conversions. The Warriors 24 came through a double to Pompey, Cosi, and forward with the other tries. Johnson, 4 of 4 conversions.
Interesting to see how the Warriors respond to this result after the cracking start to the year that they've had, and the fact that Tamari Martin now is gone for, if not the season, all but.
What they say, I saw they
rough.
I saw they talking about the fractured fibula or whatever, but I saw another thing saying that they, despite that, like the recovery time for that's usually sort of like 4 to 6 weeks or something, but they expect him back for round 8, which would be absolutely miraculous. What? Yeah, exactly.
And it's confirmed it's a fibula.
Yeah, fractured fibula. That's what I. Yeah,
the comment, the comments I heard was, he was
not round 8 next year.
Yeah, fucking hell. For the Knights, Lockie Miller had some great moments after a not so great moment defensively a week or so ago, and in the open field, I expected him when Dom Young took the 20-metre restart and put him into space. I expected Lockie Miller to basically pin his ears back and not be run down. But
Yep.
they rounded him up. Obviously explosive speed off the mark, but over 100, they rounded him up nicely. Look, let's be honest. The Warriors, I've been a big fan about how they've gone about their business so far this year, and but with all due respect, the Warriors deserve to lose after letting the worst player in the NRL score a try against them. And
the Kurtman agenda continues.
Yeah. I'll tell you one player I don't have an agenda against is Marju. He's carving out a nice little spot for himself there at the Knights. He had some moments at the Titans, but he's solid. I think he fits the way the Knights play quite nicely, and impressive. The way he gets the ball back with power and strong finisher. Like close to the line, he's tough to stop.
Well, interestingly, I've just had a look here.
Yeah.
The biggest risk factor of a fibular fracture is low bone mass.
Okay.
So otherwise known as shunteritis.
Right.
But in the leg, it's the skinny bone on the side of your tibia, your main one. Everything here is saying that it's 12 to 16 weeks for a fracture.
Well, that's what I heard.
I'd say whatever there are. I guess it's how bad the fractures is in the first place. But I think that's true. I dare say that report is perhaps premature and optimistic from the Warriors side.
And a lot of it seems to be that they stem from ankle rolls.
Right.
So that bone in your leg snaps because it's had a lot of pressure put on it.
Yeah.
From rolling an ankle.
There you go.
Something like that.
What do you know about fractures there, Glennie? I mean, when you did yours, how did you come back? How long did it take you to come back?
Never. Look, I was 3 at the time. I had a small concrete slab that formed part of a table that wasn't part of the rest of the fucking table that I managed to jump onto, and it upended, landed on my leg, and snapped it. But I was 3. I don't really remember much about it.
Yeah, 16 weeks, 18 weeks.
Look, put pretty early end to my NRL career, if I'm honest.
Yep.
Cut it short before it began.
They give you an LA Gear moon boot. Where are we? Have we done socials on that?
Social, no, we have not. Go for it.
There we are. Devonhead. Glennie's favourite player, Kurt Mann, has done something no Tigers player has done this year. Score a try in a winning performance. I'll tell you what, like even before that, they'd won a game. So that's something the Tigers haven't done at all. Isaac, what a win. Live footy, how good. Give me some candles to set ablaze, because no matter what happens with the Knights this season, I have these live wins in the memory bank. Also, Knights are above Manly after their wake-up call. Call the season here.
Yeah, call it. It's the only chance you got.
Daniel, outstanding effort all year for the Knights so far. I got to tell you, I'd finally given up on them after last year, but even with all the injuries we've had so far, as is the norm, we're actually still showing up and having a crack every week. The year is still young, but maybe AOB isn't that bad after all. Rick, fuck the Knights rule. Until next week versus the Panthers, RIP. Super Grover, Knights fans handing out credit like Easter eggs. They beat a team that lost their 5'8" and hooker. Fucking hell.
And lost. Speaking of hookers, I mean they've lost their own for the season as well. With Jaden Brayley rupturing his ACL and tearing his meniscus. And so he missed just about all of 2020 with ACL.
What a fucking jackpot to win.
Did his Achilles last year with only 8 games played. And now he's gone for the rest of this season. So
that's tough to come back from.
Yeah,
he's trying to fight it out with Ponga to see who the biggest biscuit is in the club.
It is interesting, and I've said it before. I don't understand why all these fucking players aren't over getting like cadaver tendons and stem cell shit and all of that stuff. It just, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's against NRL policy. There you go. On to the next game.
The final game, the West Tigers. They took on the Parramatta Eels, and regrettably for them, why isn't the scoreline fucking updated to the final scoreline? Sorry, the scoreline I'm looking at here is...
Tigers won 40 to 6.
The Tigers lost. What was it? 28-22.
It was.
I think from memory. I don't remember all the try scorers then. I know Gutho, Penasini, Bryce Cartwright. Who was that last try that they scored that broke the fucking hearts? Was that Sivo?
Sivo, yeah.
I think it was Sivo, wasn't it? Yeah. And then Moses with the conversions. The Tigers, their tries came through. Fuck. Star-Lord got the first one. Who else scored? Glennie. Junior got. Did he get one or two?
Naden scored and then hurt himself.
Naden scored and killed himself.
Killed himself. That's a bit rough.
Look up. I need a.
Hang on, I'm getting there.
Another source.
Just hang on.
Of but we did a game companion for the second half of this one.
Yeah, Kapoa, Stafford Toa, Kapoa, Brent Naden, Junior Tupou.
Right.
Dewey 2 or 4.
Yeah, and Appy with one of the worst conversion attempts that we've seen in many.
That was my favourite time of the whole membisode. That 45 seconds where he was like setting it up, and there was nothing from us except making up like what was said for him to take that fucking conversion attempt.
Yeah, fair to say he's not the best.
Well, I mean, he tried to pass off.
He tried to do the big dick leadership, take responsibility, move.
Threw the grass in the air. He's like, I know what I'm doing, cunts. I got this.
Great.
He went through all the stuff he saw Daryl Halligan do on the telly. He's although he did look like a round the corner kicker, he kicked it more like an old toe stabber, and it wasn't great. Glennie. We've lived through this game already, but
we did.
Probably one of the best performances of the Tigers this season.
Look, we looked interested, so there's that.
Well, no, statistically speaking, I actually saw a report today. Fuck me, I think it was Rugby League Eye Test, but they've developed a formula where it takes the inputs like the possession, the completions, the errors and lack thereof, penalties, all that, tackles, missed tackles, and all that sort of stuff. And brings out an expected scoreline based on those inputs. That if things happen, and the expected scoreline for that game, based on those inputs, was 24-10 victory to the West Tigers.
Fucking hell.
But they still found a way to lose.
Yeah, it's what we do.
I'll tell you what I'm finding interesting this season. If you go to the NRL website, you go to the stats after the game, you can see time in possession.
Right.
Which really puts things into perspective. The Tigers, now, an 80-minute game, and we obviously don't turn the clock off for all stoppages.
Yep.
So there's obviously downtime throughout the game. But the West Tigers were in possession of the football for 30 minutes and 20 seconds of that game.
Right.
Out of 80 minutes.
And what was the other?
Parramatta?
Yep.
22 minutes and 41 seconds.
Yeah. And ultimately what it came down to was simply the execution of Mitch Moses when the low opportunities that the Parramatta Eels did have, they scored, tries from kicks and, Moses kicked them to death.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the first half, or certainly halfway through, Parrot have, I think they had six to 8 tackles in Tigers 20 and scored 2 tries for 12 points, and the Tigers had in excess of 20 tackles in Paris 20 for 0 points. So that's telling, and I think it speaks to their lack of execution and in that red zone. And look, it goes from bad to worse. Obviously, we've got the bye, and then we've got Manly and Penrith. Dewey's done his ACL again. That's 3 in the same knee now. So you're starting to have concerns over how a guy comes back from that. When the strength to his game is his running game. I've got concerns there, which means obviously now we've got a halves combination of whoever plays 6 or 7 is probably irrelevant. But you've got Wakeham and Brooks now in the halves. Which, doesn't fill me with excitement. But I've said in some of, over the last few years, they've had performances, losses, and the odd win where they haven't really looked like they wanted to be out there. I can't say that about this game. I thought, the forwards are coming onto the ball. They, the attacking fluency, if you can call it that, was pretty ordinary. But it took Naden, and we mentioned it in the Memisode, it took Naden to start steaming onto the ball and making some metres, and then guys like Kapoa and Tupou sort of followed suit. I thought Tupou had a great game.
I think he could be legit. I think if we
game.
put him in like in like the Roosters or something, he'd be probably a star.
Yeah,
like I think he's legit. I think he has the ability to be legit good.
I'm not sure about the flick pass when you've made a break and you're coming, you're 25 metres out from your own line, coming back to to give yourself a chance to win the game, and he makes a break and then tries to throw a flick pass and turns the ball over.
Yeah, but look, there are lots of Tigers players who had great games and that were sullied by singular moments of absolute ridiculousness. For example, Charlie Staines, best game he's had for the Tigers by far, I thought, overall. But sullied by that one moment where they did have the dropout when they were, just behind or tied up. I can't remember. They were close. I mean, was it
two behind? Two behind.
Yeah. And
it was a kickoff, right, or was it a drop off?
It was a dropout, and they kicked it to him right out on the sideline, sort of a metre and a half, 2 metres in from the sideline, angling towards the sideline, and he sort of made a play on it and dropped it, and the Tigers got the ball. The Eels got the ball that set, and that's when Sivo's try to put the game out of reach happened.
Yeah. So, we move on. 0-6, and looking forward to the bye.
And we'll have a preview for that later in this episode.
Tell you what, if you're a gambling man, Tigers now paying $501 to win the comp. So the more you put on, the more you get back.
The more you put on, the more you lose, I believe, Glennie.
That's a very negative outlook, Nathan.
Let's have some positivity now from the socials. Winston, he said, like watching two chromey kids trying to rape each other. Only Wests would lead in every stat but still lose. You could not do a more Tigerist thing if you were on the Tigerist day of your life and had an electrified Tigerist machine. Thomas. He said, the Eels almost fucked us, the listeners, but in the end, they summoned up the courage to limp past the wooden spooners. Pathetic. Stuart, the Tigers have two strategies they need to choose from. Either cut out the errors or learn to defend them. That could be said about probably 4 other teams in the competition. Gus, I bag him almost every week, but if all the Tigers put Staines' effort in, they walk it. Tigers had some decent build-up play at times, but are missing that last piece. The man flying onto the ball on the right line. Moses didn't get much wrong, but I wouldn't be busting the team's finances to keep him based on that performance. Ricky, probably has never been mentioned, but I think we may have chosen to keep the wrong halfback 6 years ago. Naden scores a try and hurts himself. Most Tigerish thing ever. And we'll give the final word of the show to Shane, who said, simply, it brings me joy. Fuck you, Glennie.
Wow.
There you go.
It's a little hurtful. I'm just out here trying to fucking give you entertainment for a few hours a week. And you got to run at me like that.
That's us.
Okay, Sharks had to buy. Now moving on to the next episode, the Wednesday episode that you're getting the second part tonight. And look, new stuff. Is there anything particular you wanted to talk about? I mean, we did allude to this situation with Griffin, and it's been going on a couple of weeks now that he's sort of has to reapply for his position. They've told him that they're going out and they're interviewing, and they're going to create a short list of candidates, interview that short list, and then make a formal decision on their coaching future for the side. But yeah, Ben Hunt was questioned on a potential coaching change, and he said that Griffin has been here for a couple of years now, and we are building in a direction I believe is the right direction. I believe if you take away your coach and bring a new one in, it's going to start that cycle again, and to be honest, I don't have the time to start it all again. I'm getting to the back end, and I'm not really keen on starting fresh. They then asked a supplementary question about whether Griffin being sacked would cause him to reconsider his future. You would definitely have a think about it and reassess maybe, but my biggest thing at the moment is trying to win games, blah, blah, blah.
I'll tell you, do you know who if I heard that news, would be lobbying that fucking hard for Ben Hunt? Would be Russell Crowe. He's the missing piece in that south side to instantly turn them into premiership favourites, I'd say.
That's fair.
But also, fuck the Dragons.
Yeah, and their fans.
Should go back. I don't like the fact that in the modern game, because players' contracts are so, watertight, and you can't ditch players for poor performances. It just can't be done. What do? You drop them down to Reggie's, and you get a fucking up cry because you're wasting all that salary cap money. There's no dispensation from the NRL on poor performance. There's absolutely nothing to do to protect clubs from that, and coaches are an easy mark. And I've lived through some fucking terrible coaches.
Indeed, the coach that we're talking about right now.
I've lived through Hook. Lived through the fucking tail end when Matty Elliott lost his fucking marbles and had crystal incense in the fucking office. But it's just become the easy way now to just, we're going to fix everything and going to sack a coach.
I can certainly relate to a team that likes to sack its coach. I found it interesting to hear, and the source is Paul Kent, so you may have to take it with a grain of salt, but
take it with the Dead Sea.
Yeah, the Dragons don't have a recruitment guy. There's no. I just find that is that all up to Griffin as well to basically approach, make necessary adjustments and recruitment decisions single-handedly and take him to Doust for final sign-off.
Yeah.
Whilst he's trying to, formulate game plans, before that pre-season training, I don't think he's a great coach without all of that. Putting that on him as well, certainly setting the bloke up to fail, which, I'm here for. It's the Dragons. But, that's... If you're a Dragons fan, first of all, I feel sorry for you. Second of all, I think you're a cunt. But that's got to be concerning to hear Ben Hunt, who is legitimately head and shoulders their best player, on, $1 million a year or whatever he's on, to... Look, I respect Ben Hunt for actually having that position and having the stones to say that publicly and stand behind Griffin, because not many players will do that. But
and who fucking knows? It may all be smoke and mirrors, and he can't fucking stand him and hopes that he gets sacked. But he's not a big enough cunt to get out there and actually knife the guy in a public forum.
Yeah,
that could very well.
I feel it's a fairly honest assessment of the position he's in his career as well. But there's some qualified guys. I just find it interesting that a Dean Young or a Ben Hornby or a Jason Riles or a combination of them couldn't be on, more of a serious support staff to give Griffin, and basically assimilate into the role in the coming years and, help the bloke out. They're going to have a fair amount of pull given their history with the club and their careers there, to have some pull with the playing group and, play their role in appeasing the fan base as well. So they seem hell-bent on ushering Griffin out the door, but I don't know if what comes next is certainly in the short term is going to be a whole lot better.
Right. Any other news you want to talk about? Just quickly, the Dolphins have signed Max Plath, who is the son of John Plath, Broncos super sub. And there's nothing particularly notable about that. He is in the Broncos system, so they are sort of stealing him away from his heritage club. But someone that we know who's in knowing these things. Apparently, John Plath gets blind, drunk, and waves his rings around and sort of says, gives him the how many premierships have you won to his son.
Wow.
Which I thought was pretty funny. I mean, Plathy, mate, you didn't win any of them. You didn't start the game in any of those fucking premierships you won. But fair play to him though. He does have 2.5 of them. So I'll give credit where it's due. The man got certainly more premierships than a lot of good players get. So
yes.
so yeah, credit where it's due. Are there any other news stories you want to talk about? There's a lot of injury stories. Like today in training, Kickout tore his pec.
Of injury stories.
So to go on top of the 8 weeks that they estimating that it'll take the Fox to get back, the doggy's looking at pec's lengthy. He'll be back this season most probably, but I mean he's due for a lengthy time out. The Knights, they've lost Jaden Brayley. He's gone, as we mentioned, for the season. And a bunch of HIA business as well. I'll tell you what, the HIA stuff now with the 11 days, it's really, I think it's changed the balance of the whole staying down for a penalty.
Yep.
Like the risk reward balance, because now, I mean, you stay down for a penalty, you're going to get checked.
Yeah.
And if they and if they think that if you fail that assessment.
If you're a dumb cunt that can't answer the questions whether you're concussed or not.
Yeah, exactly. So, injuries. And of course, Glennie's mate Dewey. Gone again. ACL again.
That's tough.
It is very, very tough. Particularly when you just started, he'd had a game where he'd finally played well and, yeah. Anyway, shall we move on to round 7?
Yes.
Let's go.
Righto, so round 7, of course, the West Tigers take on the Bye. And this is going to be a tough one for the Tigers because the Bye do have the best defence in the comp.
What are the ins and outs for the Bye?
Well, look, I don't think it really matters. Their team list is unchanged, Glennie. That's all I've got in front of me. The West Tigers, obviously, with injury problems, they've had trouble scoring points, and the Bye are the best defence, but far and away the best defensive side in the comp, with conceding 0 points all season. They have struggled in attack, though. So, maybe the West Tigers are a chance.
Look, probably not. If I was a betting man, I'd be on the Bye. But
you just encourage people to get on the Tigers at $501.
Yeah, that was a whole episode ago, man.
Gamble responsibly.
Yeah, think of the shit you could buy, or whatever the slogan is. What is it now? Now, moving on to the real games.
If you win, maybe you can buy some new kids.
Now, the Dolphins take on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. This one's happening at Suncorp, Thursday night football. The Dolphins side, Edgerly is out, Jared Wallace to the bench, Farmasili to the bench, Robert Jennings comes in, Jesse Bromwich back in the front row, JJ Collins to the bench, and Mark Nichols will go to the bench from the front row. Rabbitoh side, what have we got? Tane Milne is out, Alex Johnson returns, Tavita Totola is out, Jai Arrow returns.
Tough one, this one for the Dolphins.
It's hard to go past the Rabbits. It's really, for me, it's a matter of interest of how much the Dolphins' game plan can withstand.
Yeah.
Like what the final margin,
Wayne Bennett revenge game. There's a few storylines there, but
there is. And to that note, they're going to be fairly well drilled on what Souths do, because Souths have changed exactly none since Wayne Bennett coached them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Their playbook is still exactly the same as it was back then. And why would you change anything? Because it's fucking been working for them.
It's perfectly suited to their roster.
That's it. So, I think the Dolphins would consider this one a victory in some sorts for them if they can keep it close for 40 minutes. But I don't see them beating South.
Yeah, I don't. I think they'll be competitive. Much to your point before about their ceiling and their floor. I think they'll be competitive, but yeah, I just think there'll be some moments where it comes down to who's got more class, and you can't go past the Rabbits.
Yep, that's it. Agree. Okay, the Sharks take on the Roosters in the first Friday game. It's happening at Reclaim Australia Stadium. The Sharks have lost Toby Rudolph, I think, for about 3 months with a foot injury, I believe. Finucane's out as well. Wade Graham comes into the bench. Oregon Kafusi to the bench. Thomas Hazelton to the bench. And Cameron McInnes goes from the bench to lock. And Royce Hunt goes into the front row. The Roosters side. Turpin is to the bench. Turpin's out. Corey Allen's out. Fletcher Baker's out. Teddy comes back. White comes to the bench. Lodge to the bench. And Manu will go back to centre, and which will push Drew Hutchinson to the bench.
Roosters, weren't fantastic last week. Sharks coming off the bye.
I expect a bounce back from the Roosters.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Sharks at home will be quite strong, and they probably play a certain a style of play that matches up nicely against the Roosters. Tedesco back is big.
Huge.
I'm going to tip the Sharks. I actually don't mind what the Sharks are doing at the moment, and a little bit fresher coming off the bye at this early stage of the season can't hurt. I think the Sharks will tough out a win here.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with you, Glennie. I'm with you. I think that the Roosters were exposed on their edges, and the Sharks have just got so much fucking athleticism out there. Have a mistake or 10 in them as well in those positions, but yeah, there's just so much fucking firepower out there, and Nico's just been absolutely pulling the strings.
Well, in one game though, this is the thing. I mean, they haven't been setting the world on fire. And
he did have a terrible game against Cronulla. That was more Sean Johnson suddenly realised he liked rugby league. But, Sharkies.
It's Sean Johnson revenge game. The Mighty Manly Sea Eagles take on the Melbourne Storm at Brookvale Oval, the Battle of Brookie version fucking 12 or however many it's been.
Version who cares?
Well, let me tell you, mate, it's one of the fucking iconic moments of rugby league. I'm sorry that West Tigers only have losing a fucking game that went forever by
whatever. Benji Marshall threw a flick pass in a grand final about the same fucking time. No one cares about that either.
No, they don't, because fucking flick pass, who fucking cares? I mean, Gidley's been doing it. He threw 100 of the cunts. Big fucking deal. Seen it all before. Gene Walsh was fucking doing it.
Two overrated cunts. It happens in the car park at Brookvale Oval fucking 19 times every week, even when Manly aren't playing. And all of a sudden, this is an iconic moment of rugby league. Get the fuck out.
Benji Marshall's flick pass is exactly as influential on history as Reece Walsh's flick pass when he was over the try line last week.
But enough about the Tigers. Let's talk about Manly and how many points they're going to lose by in this game.
Yeah, lots of outs in this one. Ruben Garrick, the aforementioned HIA, he's out. Carl Lawton to his shoulder, I think, which is a new injury for him. But I mean, being injured is something is probably his best attribute as a player, or certainly his most common attribute as a player. Kepi been benched. So Ray Tuamalo Vega comes in, finally getting his opportunity in the side, and I have a feeling that once he's in, if he goes all right this week, I think he'll whoever comes back from injury, like Tuapolotu and that, I think they'll have trouble dislodging him because he's been waiting for his opportunity for a while and he does fucking kill it. Toff Sipley, excellent form for Blacktown. He finally gets his chance on the bench. Woodsy, also excellent for Blacktown. He gets his chance on the bench, maybe. KO Weeks goes to the bench, back to his 14 position. Cooper Johns goes back to the 5'8" while Grimace is injured. Grimace is there in number 22 as an extended bench, so I wonder if he's a chance of a late call-up or whatever, but I guess we'll find out closer when they have to cut that.
You call him Grimace down. Because he's shaped like Grimace? Or because
he's a fat cunt. That's why.
Okay. No, fair assessment.
I can't tell you how off him I am.
He's a purple teardrop.
He's a fat purple cunt that is too associated with McDonald's food. All right. And one of the things that I love, one of the things I'm looking forward to this season is the advent of the fucking Gordon Chan Kum Tong era, and he's in 21, so it's his first appearance, I think, on the extended squad for a game this season, and hopefully that the sooner he can get that up to a 14 or a 9, the fucking better it'll be, because he is the one, the hooker that we've been waiting for, that plays more in that style of like Fainu Api and fast speed running threat, etc. The Storm side, Nick Meaney is out, so Pezzett comes in to 5'8", and that will shift Cameron Munster to fullback for the game.
Interesting.
There was a time when people were saying that fullback was his best position. I mean, surely his form over the years in 5'8" surely his form in 5'8" over the years has put that debate to bed. Surely, but I mean, look, I think the Storm are better with him in the halves.
100%, especially when you've got Anderson and Wishart, obviously more of a half as well. But you got those guys in 18 and 20 respectively. Yeah, it's a strange one. I'm sure he'll have a good game, but you just why take away from that combination that we saw the benefit for the Storm last week with him and Hughes.
There must just be an
Peasant's
absolute
not
lack
even
of
the best
confidence.
player in his family.
Yeah, there must just be an absolute lack of confidence in any of those other outside backs, like someone like Coates or whatever, to be able to drop back and do the job. So because they are, I feel like they're significantly weakening one aspect of their side that's really fucking clicking.
Yeah, exactly.
And look, I'm here for it. I mean, Meany's been. I mean, it feels weird to say, but Meany's been really good for them in the absence of Pappenhausen. So they will miss it. They will miss him, but then they've gone on and weakened one of their better positions.
As far as guys taking advantage of an opportunity, Nick Meany is somewhere near the top of the list.
Fucking oath he is.
Nick Meany and Remus Smith losing games hand over fist. At the doggies. They come down to the Storm, and fuck, you know what? They're actually players.
Yep.
They can actually play the game a little bit. Look, I don't know how much they can fix in a week. I mean, I guess the benefit of this week is that the changes and the outs aren't happening during the game and aren't thrust upon them just before the game. So there is that in that favour, but I don't know. I like that Kepi was dropped because it means, unlike the Des era, it means that there are consequences and positions in the side aren't safe. So while I do like that, I think that he was probably. I was surprised that he was the guy that was dropped, to be honest. But
I think the benefit is for Manly that they're not playing Penrith again, so the score won't be as bad. But I expect Melbourne to win 13 plus.
Manly going to shock the fucking world this week.
Oh fuck!
Listen, Craig Bellamy's old.
The position of guy that says shit like that has already been filled on this show.
But I'll tell you what. Thinking about me, and we've said it a couple of times that there are so many careers that were unfairly tarnished by being in shit teams, especially with young guys coming through. There's a section on Bill Simmons does a podcast. We call it the Redraftables, and they go back in time and they look at the NBA drafts year on year, and essentially redraft. If we knew then what we know now, who would go where.
So Ben Simmons doesn't get claimed at all in that year, I suppose.
No, he fucking doesn't. But it's stuff like if. In the year where there was Iverson and Kobe, do you still take Iverson 1 or do you take Kobe?
Yeah, look, I like Iverson, but obviously you do want Kobe, right? I mean,
and that's the thing. What does that mean going forward?
Well, that butterfly flaps its wings. Yeah.
Yeah, you take Iverson and then you take fucking Nowitzki the next year, and then you win 5 championships.
Yeah, but this is that thing. That doesn't mean that Iverson ends up in LA.
No.
Yeah.
With Shaq, it means Iverson ends up in Charlotte. And they play out all this stuff. Fuck me, there'd be some fascinating sliding doors moments, or NRL multiverse.
Yeah.
Where players that just sort of never quite got there, or coaches ended up at different positions,
or players leaving their junior club, leaving their junior club in the lower grades before they get their chance to debut. And then went on to great things, or things, shit like that as well.
Yeah, that's it. It'd be absolutely fucking.
Given that we don't have a draft in the NRL, thanks for nothing, Terry Hill.
Yeah, fuckhead. I don't know. Like there's so many kids that are, the obvious one at the moment. You imagine Luke Brooks, if after 3 years he was cut loose and picked up as Origin cover by the Melbourne Storm.
Yeah.
And did a Sean O'Sullivan under fucking Cooper Cronk for 5 years.
Or maybe Brooksy got unleashed down there and fucking ended Cooper Cronk, and Cooper Cronk ended up playing in England or something.
There you go. Fuck, that got dark. That surely is the darkest timeline.
Let's try and make it realistic.
Hey, if you don't want to fucking cause the ripples, don't let that butterfly flap its wings. That's all I'm saying.
That's it.
Right. I forgot what we're doing. Oh yeah, that's right. The Warriors are taking on the North Queensland Cowboys at Mount Smart Stadium. What do we got? Tamari Martin with the aforementioned lengthy, no matter what the Cuzzies think, leg injury. Wade Egan is out as well. That's tough. Freddie Lussick comes in. Tohu Harris is a big in for the Warriors. Curran will go to the bench from the second row. Jazz Tavanga goes lock the bench. Bailey Sirinen to the second row. Dylan Walker goes to 5/8, covering the loss. The North Queensland Cowboys, Brendan Elliott's out. Griffin Neem is out. He had some injury, like a crack to his trachea or something.
Oh.
And that he was hospitalised for, so he's out. Murray Taulagi comes in on the wing, and Nanai into the second row.
It seems strange to say with Egan and Tamari Martin out, and a side running Dylan Walker at 6, but
it's not like he's unknown to the
No.
I mean, he
right.
has done it, though, you know.
Yeah. I'm really not impressed with the Cowboys. And so far this season, I know it was off the back of inclusions in no small part to those two players that are now out for the Warriors, but I'm going to give the Warriors the benefit of reasonable doubt and at home and tip them over the Cowboys.
Yeah, for me, it's the home venue,
yes,
and the current form versus the outs that they have from their spine.
Yep.
Cowboys weren't up last week at home.
Yeah. So the thing is with the Warriors side, like if Tamari and Wado were in the side, then I'd have no fucking question whatsoever about tipping them to win this game.
Yep.
I feel like those outs, significant outs, kind of balance it. Make the match more evenly poised, sort of an anyone can win situation. I mean, the Cowboys have got to start fucking winning, right?
I think as well, though, that the injuries they have, like obviously Tamari Martin's is severe in terms of time.
Yep.
But Egan's not, and his isn't even really an injury. He's out for protocols. So he'll still be around them this week. He'll still be part of training. Probably won't take part in any contact. But this is a speed bump for them, not a mountain. And I think the way that the Warriors have been this year, showing that resilience on the field, I think they'll be fine.
Right. I think we've given Bennett a lot of credit, and rightfully so, for what the Dolphins are doing, but Webster is doing a fucking cracking job.
Yeah, he's doing an incredible job.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah.
He might be the first Penrith lower grades coach or assistant to kick on.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. We had Trent debacle, Serraldo debacle, fucking old mate. What's his name that was at the Titans? Debacle.
Yeah, but again, here comes that question: how many coaches could you have put in charge of the fucking thoroughbred funded Broncos teams and won premierships? How many coaches could you have put in with? Maybe not some of those Storm teams, but like it's not all the coach, sure, the surroundings and the situation.
Yeah,
especially with Penrith, given the relationship between the coach and their best player.
Correct. That's it. So.
Yeah, when the halfback lives under the constant fucking threat of being grounded.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a powerful dynamic. Look, I'm happy to jump in on the Warriors. I hope they can get it done. I think this one's going to be closer than we think, though. The Newcastle Knights take on the Penrith Panthers in Newcastle. Jaden Brayley is gone for the season. Tyson Gamble comes into 5/8, and then Phoenix Crossland will move from 5/8 to hooker. The Panthers side, no changes, no notes. Knights get their 50 this week.
Yeah,
ruling them out to be the third side ruled out of the premiership this season.
Lovely.
Kurt Manston inside.
I hope all you Knights listeners, I hope you all go to that fucking game, and I hope your kids fucking drop their ice creams and fucking cry themselves asleep.
Wow.
Oh.
Credit denied. Sorry, Glennie, I interrupted you. Please go.
No,
ahead.
I was going to say Kurt Manston inside. Panthers by 70.
The Titans take on the Broncos down at Hope Solo Coliseum. This one's happening on Saturday night. Titans side, Sexy Boy is out. Kieran Foran returns. The Broncos, Flegler is out.
Motherfucker scores the winning try and they're fucking done.
Well, it's it's the hierarchy,
concussion.
Isn't it? I mean,
is he out? Concussion? I didn't realise.
Yeah.
I thought he'd been dropped.
But it's a hierarchy too, though. I mean, you've got you paid all the money to play 5/8. I mean, when he comes back from injury, he comes into the side. I mean, it's.
Yeah, that much makes sense, but fuck, there's no space if it wasn't a concussion, there's no space in the team.
Sean O'Sullivan had some fucking good games too when he was deputising for Nathan
Fair.
Cleary, but when he wasn't injured, he came back in. Right, it's just the way it is. I mean, there's a hierarchy. The Broncos, Flegler is out, Kobe Hetherington is in, and Corey Jensen will move from bench to the front row to cover Flegler. Betting wise, Broncos heavy favourites.
Red hot favourites.
One of the heavier favourites of the weekend.
Titans pushing $3. Broncos at $1.41 after the way they played last week. Titans at home.
Yeah, looking at here, I got $1.32 playing $3.40.
Yeah, okay. Who's that tab?
I don't know. It's PointsBet. Yeah, PointsBet. Yeah.
Titans coming off a good win. Broncos, I think they'll be very heavily focused on riding the ship, and there were some elements to their game against the Raiders, albeit the Raiders did come out and ambush them, and they were well and truly up for the contest. But I think the Broncos were a little bit tardy in some areas which played into the Raiders' hands, and I suspect they'll tighten that up pretty quickly and should handle the Titans pretty comfortably.
I would love to see the Broncos complete at greater than 70%, make less than 15 errors, and miss less than 15 to 20 tackles. If they can do that, they'll win this game comfortably. They haven't done it all fucking season except when they play Penrith. So, yeah, we shall see. They've been getting away with very average performances, and whether it's a feature of their game that they can drag their opposition down to the similar level of performance through whatever they're doing, I don't know. But the Titans aren't it.
No.
Titans due a flogging. They deserve a flogging. Their fan base deserves a flogging. And this weekend...
It's a sentiment I can get behind.
Fucking hell.
I'm feeling it's fucking Glennie week. It's
Love
Glennie
it.
week.
I'm
with you, man. I am with you, brother, 100%. And here's another Glennie week game. The Raiders take on the Dragons. The GIO. The Raiders side. Rapiner is out off through fucking Vesuvius head pissing. Brad Schneider is out, and Peter Holler is out. Chotrich, or whatever he's pronounced his name. Or did he go back? He went back to Kotrick, didn't he?
Surely
did he
not.
not. Did he not? I feel like he sort of went one way and then he sort of went and he went back again.
Can I, on that note, what's the official stance on fucking ex-Manly player, current Broncos player who busted his head?
A piece of shit.
No. What's the pronunciation on his?
Can I just before
Tapo
or something? I'm just going to say that motherfucker's been dining out on Tapau Goes Kapow.
Branded himself as hashtag Team Kapow for a fucking decade.
But still has Kapow written on his mouth guard.
Right. Well, I mean, they're expensive.
Or is it Kapau on his mouth guard?
He'd need to get a mouth the size of like Nathan Cleary or whatever to be able to fit it on the new mouth guard.
And I understand there is that, the history of having to westernise things to feel accepted, and maybe that was part of what he did to rename Kapow. But yeah, maybe it's not the classiest thing in the world to keep that up. Good on you for telling us how to pronounce your name. More of it.
Well, I mean, and this year for the first time we actually had clubs making videos with that stuff, which is what we've been speaking about in the club on the podcast for years and years and years. Yeah, that shit's fantastic. And I don't and if he had like a come to Jesus moment at the World Cup, feeling included, in his culture for the first time, representing his country at the World Cup.
Fuck yes.
And that's what the catalyst was. Fucking great.
Always.
Don't need cunts in the heads, all right?
But
keep throwing shit offloads.
Yeah.
All that.
I'm not sure how those things are related to what we were discussing.
Yeah, not at all, Glennie. Hashtag Team Kakabaa.
It seems very agenda-driven.
Yeah, look, it is.
Speaking of agendas, fuck the Dragons.
Speaking of agendas, okay, so the Raiders side, they welcome back Kotrick. Jackie comes back into the side, as does Joey Tarpanay, which is a great in. Dragons side, Rawalawa is out. Murderous Frank Molo is out. Tautau Moga returns, and Zane Musgrove in the front row. West Tigers great, Zane Musgrove. West Tigers fucking Ring of Honor, or what's the fucking the VIP Hall of Fame old boys club for the West Tigers called?
cunts that come out into the media and smash the club?
There isn't one because no one qualifies.
Fucking please. How fucking very dare you, sir?
Who?
Stan Presti.
Nope. Who?
Combined history.
West Tigers. Stan Presley didn't.
Stan Presley.
Stan Presley.
Rugby league Elvis.
Stan Presley did not fucking play for the West Tigers.
No, correct. He barely played for the Magpies, if I'm honest. Look, you'd have to have Benji, Robbie.
Nope. Left to go to Union, and he's a failure as a coach. Robbie. Don't make me laugh.
Brett Hodgson.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll give you that.
Okay, cool.
He might be the only one.
Don't make me think anymore. My brain hurts.
Heino was all right.
Fair interview.
Well, Chris Lawrence is all right.
Why are we talking about the Tigers? They're not even playing this week. Let's talk about the fucking Dragons.
Hodgson and Gaddeth. They're the only two in the West Tigers.
Brings a tear to my eye.
Okay, sorry, the Dragon side. Rolo out, Murderous Frank Rowe out. Mongo, Zane Musgrove, of course. That's how we got there. West Tigers legend Zane Musgrove is in.
Alongside other West Tigers legends such as Ben Murdoch-Masila, Jacob Lindell.
Liz, yeah, I mean, like he joined
Moses
other
Sully,
West Tigers legends. True.
Moses Mbai.
I forgot about the 4 weeks he was there fucking sleeping.
This is how shit the Dragons are. They thought, hey, I see what the Bulldogs are doing. They're just stealing all these Panthers players. We can do the same. Let's get all these Tigers cunts. Surely it'll have the same result. And you're right. Your club's a pack of cunts, your fan base is a pack of cunts, and the Raiders, and fuck the Raiders too, and certain people in particular.
You were going a certain direction, but you've had agendas about both these clubs through the year.
Correct, but fuck the Dragons most of all.
I like the Raiders in this one comfortably, 10 points easily.
I expect the Raiders to overcome the brutal murder of Jordan Rapana and get a win in his honour.
Because Rapana goes hard, but I mean, he also, he can give away a penalty and.
The man's an absolute fucking pest. He's a fucking pest
as well. Yeah, he's got one of those faces that when you just look at the guy, you just know that he's an absolute cunt.
Yeah,
and you don't want a bar of it.
Yeah,
he has like resting cunt face.
Yeah, exactly.
And
or as I like to call it,
the Gearless. And now it's his time of the month. Right. The Dragons comfortable. Sorry, the Raiders comfortably for me.
Yes, I agree.
10 points. 10 points. I'll say 10. All right. The Eels take on the Bulldogs. This one's happening on Sunday afternoon at Combank Stadium. The Parramatta Eels have lost Jack Murchie. They welcome back Junior Paulo, which is a great in. The Doggies have lost the Fox. They've lost Harrison Edwards. They've lost Kurt Morin. They've lost Jackson Topine. They've lost Samuel Hughes. To replace them all, and they've also lost Kikau, of course. Kikau is named here, but no, did a peck today. He ain't playing. Braden Burns, Tavita Pangai Jr. back. Raymond Fatala Mariner and Jaden Ockenbaugh returns.
Yeah, that's.
Where are they playing him?
Parramatta.
No. Where are they playing Ockenbaugh?
Oh, where are they playing?
15.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to shoehorn him into the back row, but
I think they're trying to. I think someone at the club, maybe Gus, thinks he's Jamal Idris,
which is dangerous.
When he came in,
and trying to just jam him in there. Look, I think the Eels should have this comfortably. The Bulldogs want to bitch about their injury toll. There's your excuse. Congratulations. It's a moral defeat.
Yep.
It's just the injuries. It's not because your coach is shit, your team's shit, your fan base is shit.
Oh,
yep.
Wow. All the people you could morph into, mate. I'm not sure me was the great choice.
It's fucking Glennie week. I told you. It's Glennie week.
I'm here for it.
You made me this way.
Okay.
Under threat of death.
No, I didn't. Look, I just said I hope you die. I didn't say I was going to kill you.
Yeah.
I stand by every word I fucking said.
It was implied.
It was wished for and preyed upon.
Yes. Look, honestly, I think the Eels, their baseline they've lost some, all of their losses have been close losses. This one is going to be their most comfortable win.
Yeah,
I think they are going to begin the game. The first half is going to mirror what happened last week in terms of scoreline, but in terms of the run of play, I think the Eels will be smarting from the performance last week. Although they got the 2 points, I think that the way that the Tigers handled them is going to be like somewhat of a sore point and almost insulting to them. And so I think they're going to come out, and especially with a guy like Junior Paolo to spearhead them, I think that they're going to be up convincingly at halftime by 2 tries plus, and they're going to go on with it because the Dogs cannot play for 80 minutes anyway. They're going to take the best 60 the Dogs have got, smash them in that, and then go on with it for their most comprehensive win of the season. And I say this as someone that fucking hates Parramatta Eels, but that's what's going to happen.
Agreed.
Yes. Thirded.
Boom. All right. So there it is. Episode 510, the combined episode, and
there it is. Fucking
as always, This Week in League.
The conjoined-isode.
The conjoined thisweekinleague.com/links. You find all our socials and everything like that. Tell you what, I'm having fucking trouble this year getting onto our very long term, in fact, the entire history of the show, over a decade, supplier for the garments like the hoodies and whatnot. So much so that I am considering perhaps that we may need to consider our options and take
Is this our place in the valley?
Yep.
Ooh.
So I can't hold things up. I've been waiting on them for some stuff for the Patreon stuff as well. I'm not a happy customer at the moment. After years and years and years of stellar fucking service. Yeah. So I'm thinking, and I want to get the hoodies up and things like that because this morning was the first morning it was cold enough. I was like, oh fuck, here we go, hoodie season is coming. So I want to get them up. So I may need to. I mean, the supplier that we go to is going to have access to the same brand of garments we use because they're the only ones I will use. And but yeah, just a little bit.
We'll take this offline. But have you tried to speak to the person that we both know?
They seem to go through people quite a lot. The person that we know is harder to reach now because there's several layers. I think with the growth, there's several layers of people between A and B now. So
yeah, fuck. Okay. Again, it's fucking boring for the listeners. Can you text me his name and I'll dig up his mobile number?
Yeah, cool. Okay, cool.
There you go.
So, that's basically that
troubleshooting.
Yeah, the only reason I say that is because like I want to get the hoodies up and everything like that, and I want to get those and like the Patreon stuff is being held up by this, so I want to make sure that happens, and I just want to give people a little bit of insight into the delays. But that's it.
Fuck yeah.
I'll give a shout out. We've got to shout out to some new patrons: Scotty, Davey, Luke, Matt, Christo, Rory. Welcome. Thank you for your support, guys.
And, I hope you enjoyed Glennie's raw emotion.
The problem is those games, they're not that raw emotion. Glennie's very philosophical. He's used to it. I'm the one I'm the raw emotion. I get invested in the Tigers winning for Glennie in these game companions. And when they let me down, when they give me that sniff and open the door, and then they fucking don't, then they lose. I'll tell you, I've never been angrier than West Tigers game companions about results of games. Right, that's it. And talk to you fellas on Monday.
Love it.
It's us.
See ya.
Be good.
Bye.
See ya.